Okay, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the OTR e-racing news. For those of you that missed yesterday, you missed a real treat because stage 7, the 10 kilometer, what was effectively a time trial up the hill, was pretty indicative of what I see happening in the rest of this tour. John Beams extended his lead over Daniel Cadiz once more to take his what were we in, fourth win of the tour. Well, he didn't actually win, but he did come in first place in terms of the GC. More on that later. But yes, John Beams extended his lead, which has now gone out to 7 minutes and 5 seconds. So I think that's significant enough to not be overturned unless there's a major happening in the tour, and I don't see that influencing what is going to be a really tight finish of the GC lower down in the rankings. At the top, I think it's now decided, but you know, things can change. We'll see what happens. But it really was a pretty good day yesterday. We had Daniel going earlier in the lunchtime slot, which I incidentally covered. And if you want to catch the video, it's on my YouTube channel now, edited version. So check that out, and also check out the news section if you want to. But today's news is really all about us coming into the final 3 stages, and they're all pretty hard. Today's stage, let's see if we can pull it up on screen for you. There we go. Let's just transition across with that. So hopefully you're going to be seeing that now. My screen. There we go. So as you can see, we've got 21 kilometers of riding, of which 1,297, so let's say 1,300 meters is uphill. So this is going to be pretty significant. There is a small downhill section that you can see just before the halfway point, but it isn't a steep downhill, and it isn't really long enough or significant enough to have a huge impact on what's going to happen next, which is that long climb into the finish. And it is an uphill finish again. I've no doubt that Paul Cruella-Nichols will have put something special in those last few kilometers, as he has continued to do in the rest of this tour. So I think today should be an interesting stage, and Daniel may well be able to claw back some time on John if John has an off day, but it's not the kind of stage where I think anybody's going to take 7 minutes out of a competitor, at least not at the top of the leaderboard. But never say never. Anyway, before we go on with the rest of the news, the most exciting thing, which we managed to make a mess of yesterday, and one of the things I will say in my defense when it came to the spinning wheel prize draw is this is all new to me, folks. I'm getting this studio set up. I'm running multiple screens and monitors and trying to stop the audio from one seeping into the other. I do have knowledge of setting up this, but it's all new to me with the latest version. So forgive me if I do make the odd mistake and it does seem a little bit off the cuff, because that basically is what it is, off the cuff. But I think we're going to get it right today, so let's see whether we can do that. Now the spinning wheel today, I'll just put this full screen, and then we're not going to go full screen with that. You won't see that yet, but you will see it any moment now. So we'll transition the prize draw across. Takes a couple of seconds to update, and you should now be seeing it on screen live as I am on my third monitor. Come on, up, there we go. There's a transition. So what I'm going to do now, folks, is play you the the prize draw live. Here we go. And who took the prize yesterday, which was a nutrition pack from Palo Valley. Here's the live draw. And the prize goes to Walter Clares. Yes, nicely done. So, oh, and there goes my bell, my front door bell. Now, those of you that know, I'm doing this broadcast in between trying to sort the girls out and having to look after the home. So I'm sorry, but I have to dash away. I'll be back in a couple of seconds. Just bear with me and stay with the broadcast. Oof. Okay, folks, I'm back. I will try to edit out this section when we're finished. Let's just close this down and return back to this. Whoa, we don't want that on screen, do we? And return back to the studio. Oh, that's hard work when that happens. As I say, I run a busy family home, and trying to fit everything in is pretty difficult because I have to pick up the girls later from school, which means I can't cover the full race. But back to the news. Let's see if we can have a look at the general classification. Now you can see, as I say, that John Beams has got a 7 minutes and 5 second, or let's get this across so that you can actually see it. Doing the, that's better. So John Beams has got a 7 minutes and 5 second gap over Daniel Cadiz, and Daniel has a huge gap over third place, Jonathan Stevens. So it really is a battle between the top two. Jonathan isn't going to have any impact, and he won't mind me admitting this, with 19 minutes to catch up. But there is an interesting battle, as it says in the breaking news, between 4th and 8th place, and that's where I see some of the positions quite possibly changing around, and quite possibly changing around today on this long climbing stage. We've got Giorgio in 4th place with Wouter hot on his heels, and I expect that to be one of the tighter battles, but don't discount Lee Marshall from Orbea in 6th place. And even Peter Brook, Vavel and Timo aren't out of it, from 5 and 7 minutes behind respectively. So all to play for. As we look further down the GC and see that Alyssa Ellis is cementing her place as leader of the ladies, with Linda some way behind now and some distance to catch up. And I believe from today's results, which is why you saw the RGT users screen up on the news feed, what I was doing there was looking at the results from earlier to see how the ladies did, and we'll get the podium from yesterday, the ladies' podium from yesterday. So we'll have a look at that and see what happened. Yeah, we got Joe Dose again, a brilliant ride from Joe yesterday, and my only regret is that Joe isn't part of the GC, because I think she'd be a real contender for the overall had she taken part in more stages. But so this is just the podium for yesterday, the women's podium, and you can see that Joe took first, Alyssa took second, and Linda took third. Now, as I say, that doesn't really affect Alyssa's place on the GC, because Joe Dose hasn't done enough stages to overtake her on GC. Moving on, we'll have a look at the men's podium from yesterday, and that was won by the French guy Cedric. I'm not transitioning these across here, am I? Let's have a look. There we go. Cedric Richard took yesterday's stage, just ahead of John Beams. He just more or less beat him in the final few hundred meters. It was a very close race, and I think Cedric actually helped John with the pacing in the latter part of the race. And that enabled John to be able to pull out another gap on Daniel, who came in 3rd place. So on the day, not on the stage, Daniel didn't take part in the same stage. So it was a really good battle yesterday. Only 10 kilometers, but still able to take out 25 or so seconds was pretty impressive. Let's have a look. What else we got? We got the running of the race this morning, stage 8, and that was quite interesting as well, because we got a rider I expected to sort of like duke it out in the evening session. Here we go, Wouter, and he went at the 0600 running, or GMT time, 0700 my time, and has put in a time of 1:04:59. Now I expect the leaders will overtake that, but that's a very fast time for a course with this much climbing. So he's obviously got good legs. He's obviously feeling good. And we'll have to wait and see how his competitors, particularly John Stevens and Giorgio Rusinek on the GC, fare later on today. I don't see them yet in this lunchtime session, which I'm going to be covering in a few minutes' time. And again, folks, you have to remember that I cannot cover the full race. I do only do this because I do the news broadcast, and then I have about 30 minutes left before I have to dash off again. So I will cover the start of stage 8, but I can't cover it all. For that, you can check out ZMS live stream tonight. So Wouter's leading the field at the moment. To have a look at today's stage, there we go again. We've got we've got a relatively easy start for the first kilometre or so, and then you can see that they're into the climbing. Then another easy section before they get into the climbing proper at the halfway stage. So this is going to be pretty much a real hard battle, and I think tonight, you know, I already think it's out of reach, but I do think we're going to see some changes in the general classification over the lower placings. So there you go. Not much other news to tell you, other than one exciting thing which me and James have just finalised is we're going to do a special program on Saturday at 1 o'clock GMT time, which is 2 o'clock my time here in the Netherlands. So we're going to be doing a special program, a special news broadcast and program covering the previous week of the tour, but also doing the live draw for the £251 pounds, sorry, which is going to be pretty exciting. So live on my show here, we're going to have the draw to see who the winner is, and there's currently 25 people going into that draw. So you've a 1 in 25 chance, if you've done all the stages by the end of the tour, of winning that £251. And that's pretty exciting and a big deal for us. And then on Saturday's broadcast, because I will have hopefully enough time to prepare a longer broadcast, we're going to have more OTR news for you about what's up and coming. We're even going to give a shout out to some of the other organisers that have got some pretty exciting events happening as well. So if you are listening, organisers, get in touch with us and we can include it in the broadcast. We've already got a few tidbits, but if you want to get in touch with me or James directly or Paul Nichols, we can include a slot for you in that news broadcast. Anyway, folks, on that note, I'm going to transition across to the start of the race. I've already got it up on screen today, so I did have that couple of extra minutes before we went live. I apologise for having to dash off and answer the doorbell. That's something I can't avoid as I'm doing this in between doing my other duties as stay-at-home dad. So we'll get across to the live action, and let's see. There we go. RGT live, transition across. Now I'm not going to appear on screen. I've already made the decision that I think not having the camera on screen gives us more real estate to show the broadcast, whereas if my image is in the bottom corner, we're hiding some of the finish of the profile in the bottom corner once the race starting logo has been removed. So that's why you no longer see me sat in my chair in the bottom corner of the RGT live screen. Now, I said it was an easy start, but just looking at this picture on screen, you can see it's 5.2% slope. So I take it just goes up for a few meters. In fact, it does. It goes up to the ZMS banner, then you can clearly see that it starts to drop down. So these guys just have to push big watts, leaving the start banner, and then they'll very quickly be going slightly downhill. I am looking forward to this. I want to get a good look at this this course, and I do think we'll get to the halfway point before I have to leave. So it should be pretty exciting. With 24 seconds to go, I'm going to jump on the bike, turn the pedals, and then I'll return to commentary. Bear with me. Here we go. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, and this is hard work, folks, because they're going uphill. Oh yeah, it's starting to go downhill now. Oh. Yeah, and that's enough for me. I'm out of breath already. For those that don't know, I've suffered a complication with the COVID, and I have a compromised breathing system. So yeah, no racing from me for quite a while yet. Now, okay, let's see. Instead of looking at me, there we go. With Lee leading them out. Podium from OTR. Excuse me, I'm out of breath. For those that are asking the question, why are you not riding yourself, Derek? Well, that's why. I can't take the risk of making my condition worse. But this should be an exciting battle. They're gonna stay together as a group, this lot, until we get to this first red section that you can see on the bottom of the screen. I'm pretty confident. Although we've got a nice 10% section here, as they just go over this little bump, you can see it's not very long. So they're gonna go over this bump, and then it gently eases downhill. Pardon me, downhill again. And this should make for an exciting start. Who's that jumping off the front? Polak. Now, don't know this fella. We may have seen him before, but I don't recall. But he's having a push off the front with a 20-meter gap. But to be fair, I don't think this is going to hold, at least initially. But we shall see. There you go. As the riders come back up to him. I didn't think it would, because they're not going to let anybody go at this early stage. The time for the breaks in this group is when they hit the climb, and we see the different strengths of the riders. We've got a lot of pure climbers in, not a lot, but we've got some pure climbers in this group. Sonderg is a climber, and quite a good one at that. So he's going to be up there near the front. But Weston from SDW is a strong rider. I expect to see him staying near the front. Lee from Orbia is fighting for his GC place, so he's going to be giving it a big effort in this race. And in fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see Lee come in pretty near the top of this field at the end of the race. Now, what I will do is, because I have to leave, I will actually jump in later and catch the ZMS broadcast later this evening, and then I can update the news broadcast tomorrow. Incidentally, one of the things I didn't mention in the news broadcast is that ZMS are unable to cover the tour tomorrow. They're covering it this evening, and they have another guest commentator. I think it might be Dave again, but they're unable to cover the broadcast tomorrow because they're doing the name of the series. It's escaped me, but they're doing one of the other big series tomorrow, which I think is being launched, and therefore can't cover the Tour du Alpes. So I'm doing it. I'm going to be doing it live. I'll probably do a news broadcast just prior to going live, so I'll probably combine the two, do a short news broadcast, and then we'll go live. and it will be full commentary from start to finish. I'll get every rider starting and every rider finishing, as I usually do. So I'm quite looking forward to that. As Pollock continues to try and make a break from the front, but I don't think these riders are going to let him go. However, we are into the climbing proper now. You can see we're up to 9%, and the climbing just gets worse from here. When I say worse, I mean it just gets harder. There's no let up now for a few kilometers. So yeah, they're going to be climbing for a little while before they get to this this green section that you can see on your screen, which basically means, you know, the gradient eases prior to reaching that final, well, not final, but that second red section, which is just immense. And then you have that very short bit of recuperation before the final red. It does, however, look like the last few meters are on the flat, so maybe it doesn't finish actually uphill, but it's only a very short section. So my guess is that Paul Nicholls will have stuck in a really steep section at the end. Certainly looks like it, looking at the profile, and it would fit with his character. So Pollack has pulled out a 37-meter gap now. Let's just go to him there. Oh no, Gallagher. Now Gallagher rode the other day, and was this the rider that did 5 watt kilos for something like 40 odd minutes? Not sure. We'll see what happens here. One of my big issues, and something which I'm going to be doing maybe even more than one, because I'm already well into the background of it, but I'm certainly going to be doing at least one YouTube documentary on cheating in esports, in particular cycling, because I did a lot over on Swift in terms of finding out about how people game the system. And so I'm going to take a look at RGT, take a look at a lot of the riders, do some background, and I'm going to be doing a YouTube video. Now, there are riders that are miscalibrated. There are riders that are clearly weight doping, and usually are caught, not always, but usually are caught. But there are also other ways of gaming the system, and it would be nice to see riders verifying themselves. The likes of John Beams is not only is he using a webcam to show him live on screen, but he's also going to the RGT Ride Fair Facebook page, putting in his weight video and verifying his weight that way. Some of the other good riders are doing that. You've got Wouter, and most of the riders that have got absolutely nothing to hide and want to ensure that the racing is fair are actually verifying themselves. But I have to say, I'm very saddened to see that there's a lot of top riders that aren't. And I think they should pull the socks up, basically, get themselves verified. Because if you're taking part in these competitions, and particularly, I mean, there's no prize money other than the £251 on offer for winning this tour. But in the future, there could well be. And we've had scandals over on Swift because money became involved. And I would hate to see that here on the RGT platform, because it really spoils it. And I'm a big proponent of calling out people who I think are cheating. So anyway, let's get back to the action. I know I get on my hobby horse with this topic, but it's a topic, folks, that you're gonna have to grasp. You're gonna have to grasp the nettle and just accept it's happening, and do something about it. Now, I said Sonderg and Lee would be putting in good rides, and they are. And the riders that are in front of them, to be fair, they can just let go. I mean, whether they are part of the race or not, because they're certainly not on GC. So Sonderg and Lee and Gray don't have to worry about the riders in front of them. And I hope they're listening to this broadcast and just let them go. There's absolutely no need to worry about them at all. Just let them go, let them take it, and do your own race, because this is for GC and it's pretty important. As we see Lee trying to get back onto Gray's wheel, he's not going to want to let Sonderg go, because this is a pretty tight battle on GC, and the top, what did I say, from 4th to 8th place is open, very, very open. The places being swapped around. So these guys are going to want to do the best they can. And it's a good tactic to come in an earlier race and where you don't have to worry about a larger crowd, and also you can just do your own thing. And Gray's looking strong. Very low heart rate though, so he's not obviously pushing the limits yet. Whereas, look at the difference in heart rates, folks. Just look at Gray at 140. I mean, the heart rate doesn't tell the full story, but you can clearly see that Lee is it'll be pretty close to his threshold here at this heart rate. And Sonderg, very, very low heart rate. So he's obviously taking recovery here. That's ridiculously low. I suspect his heart rate monitor is on the blink here, because that's just silly. Particularly when he was on the 9% section. It seems to be stuck on 124. But we won't labour that point. As you can see, Lee at 181. So Lee's really, really working hard. I think it's Mike Weston from SDW. He's now dropped 150 meters behind, so he's going to be struggling to close up that gap. But we do have this relatively easier section coming up, so the bigger riders could well pull something back when we get into the green section. Newnham, another rider we've seen plenty of in this tour. Hansen, a good Danish rider, putting in a big effort here. But Huru, the Japanese rider, putting in 4 watt kilo to pass him. See if we can highlight Huru. Yeah, there we go. So these are the kind of heart rates, folks, that I would expect to see. When they're sort of like settling into the climb around the one. I mean, it all depends on the rider's weight and the rider's fitness, but yeah, you would expect to see something like this. And this tells me that this rider, is riding at his nice sustained level, as is Hansen, who's coming back to Huru now, so hence why you're seeing his heart rate rising up. And that's another clue, folks, for genuine riders. It's one of the questions and one of the reasons why I ask people to wear a heart rate monitor, and so does James, the OTR team manager. He asks people that are going for general classification to wear a heart rate monitor for this very reason. We can watch on screen and we can basically work out what's happening with the riders. It's not rocket science. You can clearly see that Hansen heart rate is rising as he puts in an effort to close the wheel. And that just tells you that it's a genuine effort and not somebody hiding behind, a fake profile. Ross in 10th place. Above threshold effort and putting in over 300 watts. So this is a good effort from Ross. I'd just say that, and was that a mini dropout he had? Oh, poor lad, and another. So he's struggling, is Ross. Come on, get going. I hate to see this because I mean, he's on the 16% section, but if he's having dropouts, it's heartbreaking. Here he is back over threshold again. It takes in this steeper section. He's in a bit now. We see Taylor on the 15% section, and again, another rider going into threshold. I mean, the majority of riders ride fair and square, and look at Jo Dose, another great ride. And she was battling with Byham the other day, so she seems to have found a rider. I think it's Clive, that's around her pace, around her limit. I mean, she's putting in really good efforts here to try and stay with him. This is wonderful riding. And as I said in the news broadcast, my only regret is that Jo Dose wasn't in the Tour from the start, because I really do think she would have taken the overall. Look at the way she's coming back to Byham now. Fabulous riding. And this is another lady, Elizabeth. Now, Elizabeth is also putting in good performances, but she's another lady that hasn't ridden every stage. So these performances that these ladies are putting in, it's such, I mean, as she goes, 3.9 watt kilos as she goes into threshold. And it's just such a shame that they weren't in from the start, because it would have made for a much more exciting battle on the GC for the ladies. And 3 in a row, we have Jo Dose, Elizabeth, and Anne Y. So it's nice to see that they're all entering the same race, same time slot, as Anne Y is putting in a good effort here. Anne's dropped down the standings a little bit, but a good performance today could well see her climbing back up. I think she's in 3rd place at the moment. So she needs a good performance today. Haysart, we've watched Haysart before. And Guy, another rider we've seen before. And then we have the ZMS camera right at the very back. And of course me. But we're going to go back to the front. And we've got these two basically battling out at the front. But my interest really is in this battle behind, and these 3 riders who are still together, which is fantastic, fabulous. Now, if they can crest this hill, saying hill, it's this mountain, if they can crest this one and stay together into this next recovery section, then they should arrive at the big climb all together. I don't see any one of these 3 really breaking away and it looks like they are going to stay together over this next section. So this is good riding. Mindful of, I'm keeping an eye on the time, folks. Oh, and I've just set an alarm because I am going to be able to stop after the 30-minute point. So let's just set an alarm. Then so what time will it be? It'll be 15:25, won't it? Should ensure I don't forget to jump on the bike. So these three have arrived at the top of the, well, they're just arriving at the top of the first major section of climbing, and then they're going to go into this period of recovery. So I would expect them to stay together. So we'll see what happens behind. Just as I say, this is the last turn before the gradient eases. There you go. So this is going to be fast. They're gonna Gray's going to have to watch it here. He's going to have to stay with. Yeah, there we go. They're going to have to watch each other, make sure that they don't lose a wheel, because on this kind of terrain, if you lose a wheel, it can be fatal. You can lose 30, 40 meters in no time at all, and you're going to struggle to get it back. Let's have a look and see what's happening lower down the field as we watch Western. Not far, well, I'm saying not far, 600 meters behind. So this, it's not out of the realms of possibility, but I don't see him closing that gap up. So I think he's ahead of Hansen by about 160 meters. So he could hang on to his position, but I'd expect the riders behind to put in a bit of an effort to chase him. We'll have a look at those riders here. Still putting in a good effort, still heart rate rising as he just comes over this this steeper section onto the easier terrain. So expect his heart rate to drop slightly. But working hard. And there's Haru, look. So we'll just highlight Haru. You can see going into the red just to catch the wheel, and Newnham just behind. So these three would do well to stay together. Work as a small mini group, stay together on this next section until we get to the next bit of climbing, and then battle it out. So Haru needs to close this gap. He doesn't want to let a couple of bike lengths open up, otherwise he'll find himself. And as I say that, that's exactly what is happening. Now, will he put in? We'll just stay with him and see whether he puts in a bit of an effort to. Let's just spin the camera around. We go. Is he going to put in an effort to get on the two wheels in front? Because if he doesn't, and he's got to do it now, if he doesn't put in no, he's gone. He's not going to catch those two in front, folks, unless he goes well over. I think he's left it. Don't know. It's possible, but he's taking a bit of a gamble, allowing like if that gap goes out to 30 meters, although he is pulling it back slowly. So give him the benefit of the doubt. He'll probably get back to them. But at what cost? Will it cost him later in the race? Quite possibly. I mean, Hansen's really. Let's just join him. Hansen's trying to drop Newnham as they get onto this small section climbing. But you can see that it ends just as they get to the top of this hill. It goes around the bend and then it eases off once more. So it's not sufficiently long enough to have an impact on dropping a rider. This is not the place to try and drop your competitor. The place to try that is on the next hill. Go back and see. And Taylor's actually gone past Huru and joining these two. So this next section could be a group of 4 if Huru can join Taylor. Huru needs to close up the gap. Now, is he going to go straight past? Yes, he is. So he'll pull this group along, but the fact that he's putting in good wattage, 4.5 we saw there, so he's putting in strong wattage, and but Huru's joined them. So expect these 4 riders to stay together until we get to the base of the climb. Let's check out what's happening behind. As we see Byham as, I think if I spin the camera around, you'll see Joe Dose is on his wheel. Well done, Joe. So she's not letting him go. She's wanting, and this is the great tactic, because if she can stay with him until they get onto this flatter section, she can hold his wheel until they get to the to the really meat and bones of the next climb. So this is a good effort and good tactical riding. It's obviously got good race sense. As we watch Elizabeth on the slope, she's still got a fair amount of climbing to go before she joins the riders in front. So, in fact, she's a kilometre behind. I can't see Elizabeth closing that gap. She'll now be riding for her own place and trying to stay away from Anne Y chasing her behind at 550 metres. Getting out of a saddle effort for Anne. Then we've got Hazert, who looked like he had a... That's the reason why I set my alarm, folks. I'll just turn it off and I'm going to jump on the bike, spin the pedals, make sure that got the app open so that I can see my wattage. And then return to commentary. There we go. I could do without having to do that, to be honest. It hurts. Okay, so we got here, sir. And then Lantern Rouge today is Guy, bringing up the rear. It's a long way, and I really hope he sticks with it. I think this is the first time we've seen him on the Tour des Alpes, but I hope he manages to finish the stage. Let's get back to the front. These two are still 300 meters out front. Polak and Gallagher. As we see them going, that's the halfway, that red banner that you saw is the halfway banner. So the second climb is more or less exactly on the halfway banner. See these two. Just while the Three Musketeers, as I'm going to call them, are still together, but expect these three now to start the battle for positioning. And don't forget the two in front aren't on GC, so this is a position. This is really a battle for the race. And in fact, while I'm watching this, I'm just going to I'm going to pull up a website and have a look, because I think I could have some pretty important news to tell you. Let's go back a few days and have a look at... When was it? You just continue to watch the action, folks, while I try and sort out something here on the screen. Okay, was it this one? Yeah. Okay, so I'll just return to the front. This fellow was disqualified from stage, was it? Yeah, he actually won the stage 6, but was disqualified. I called him out because he maintained over 5 watt kilos for the full, and in fact, he came in at 5 watt kilos exactly for the full event, which is like pro level stuff, and he's definitely not a pro. So discount this rider. He's not going to be part of the official results. which, like I say, is sad to see riders that are gaming the system, and he obviously is. He's either doing it deliberately, or he's miscalibrated, and somebody should have a word with him. But I don't know whether he's been contacted after taking stage 6, but certainly somebody from the tour should maybe try and get in touch with him. But this is where the real race is, and the real race is happening. These three duking it out. All of them putting in really, really strong performance here. In the watt kilos are very similar. You can see it, Lee's heart rate at 180. So absolutely. Sorry, just want to go back. I'm a little bit concerned about this heart rate though. Is this a faulty heart rate monitor from Sonderg? Or, I mean, I can't believe he's going up an 11% slope at 129 beats per minute. It just sounds, unless he's got a ridiculously low heart rate. We'll see. Sorry, let's see if we can get the other rider. We've got Lee, we've got Gray. Yeah, Gray's heart rate is like in the middle, depending on what his maximum is. I mean, Lee's obviously a younger guy and obviously has got a higher maximum heart rate. And this is one of the reasons why you can't let heart rate dictate everything, but it can be a good guide. I suspect that this isn't gaming the system by Sonderg. I think he's genuinely got a faulty heart rate monitor. It was stuck earlier on 124. It now appears to be stuck on 129. So I think he probably needs a new chest strap or armband. As we have a look at Mike, and he's definitely working hard. You can see he's putting in over 300 watts. His heart rate is elevated. So definitely putting in a big effort. Taylor going into threshold as well, and again, good wattage. Suspect a lighter rider, judging from the power that's sending him into threshold. So he's probably a lighter rider, catching up with Western in front. And then we have the Japanese rider Huru, who was struggling to hold on to Newnham and Hansen. So let's see where they are on the road. Let's see if I can just switch this view around a little bit. Yeah, there we go. So you can see that Huru has managed to drop Newnham on the climbing. And Hansen is staying in touch. So they're all three within sight of each other, which really helps when you are on this kind of a big, long climb. Long way to go. You set your own, you set your stall out, you set your own pace. You don't let other riders at this point on this kind of a climb influence you. You should be setting your own pace, something you're comfortable with, something you know that you can possibly maintain. I mean, if you really want to push it, then you should be doing so, but time to push it is probably on that last section of climbing. When I say push it, I mean really, really give everything you've got. Now, Byham has managed to distance slightly Godot, but you can see them both joking, still see him up the road. So she's going to continue to work hard here to try and bring him back once again. And it's a long climb, so there's plenty of time. Now, don't forget, folks, I'm not going to be able to stay with all this action. I have to go and pick up my daughter, so I'll stay as long as I can, probably for another 10, 20 minutes or so. Not 20, sorry, 10, 15 minutes or so. And then that's going to be my lot. So to find out who actually won the event, you're going to have to check in on the ZMS feed later on. Unless anybody else is streaming at this time. I don't think there's anybody else streaming this section. Actually, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if I turn the pedals just prior to leaving. I've never done that before because I usually like to put up the thanks for watching screen. But what I might do in this instance is I might actually leave the broadcast running while I go off. And then there's a possibility I could even return to it before it goes offline. So we'll see. But it would mean that you're going to be watching the action without commentary. So I would have to pick a rider to follow, and that's the rider that you would see going to the finish. So that might be an option. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna wait. Oh, that's a steep corner. 15%, 15.6% as she went around that hairpin. And she went into the red, look, as well. This is a good ride by Elizabeth. A really good ride. Now, Anne on the slightly easier section. Still got to approach the climb, so a little bit of recovery, although she's going over one of the lumps now. There are a few of these small lumps. Just catch you out. Just when you think you're on the green section, the easier section, you get a small lump like that one. But she's now on the slight downhill into the base of the climb. Pick up a bit of speed here and a bit of recovery, which is the most important part. And she's looking good. As we look back at Haysart, again, he's getting his recovery now. Got that small bump to go over. He'll be into the base of the climb in no time. And Guy bringing up the rear. And looking good as well. Putting in some nice wattage, so looking good. Well done, sir. Go back to the start. And oh, that's good. Maybe he was listening to the broadcast. What was his name? Was it? Hang on a minute, let's just pull it up. Gallagher. Gallagher must have been listening to the broadcast because he's now pulled out. And we've got the true leaders of the race out in front. Lee, I said it would be a battle between Lee, Gray and Sonderg, and that's exactly what it's proving to be. And let's actually spin the camera around so that we see all. There we go. You can see all three of them, and these are the three that are going to take. One of these three is going to take the win, pretty obviously. But this is where the action is, and this is where the action was from the start. I was canny enough to know that Gallagher was not the genuine article at the start. I wasn't sure about Polak, but he's dropped back now and has been distanced by these riders. So was he trying to stay with Gallagher and has burnt himself out? Or has he just decided to ride at a steadier pace on this really long climb? I don't know. But I can't tell you how amazingly happy I am to see this, because I do know that these three riders, Sonderg needs to listen to me and get his heart rate monitor sorted out, because that could always cast doubt on an otherwise really good rider. So he needs to get that sorted. I mean, I believe he's the real article. I've watched him through this tour, and he's ridden very well. So, I mean, and that's another thing with me, folks. I'm a fair guy. I will only call out obvious cheaters. I won't call a rider a cheater for you know something that is not quite right if it's something that can be fixed easily. Um, and they're obviously not doing it deliberately. But this is just great to see, because I did expect Lee to be up there challenging for this win, and Sonderg to be fighting it out with him, and Gray. I don't think Gray's out of this. He's 30 meters behind. I think he'll come back to them. But let's go to Gray and have a look. There he is. Has he got anything left to pull them back? He's putting out 4 watt kilos. So, and let's spin the camera around and see what he's seeing. There you go, look. So he's seeing their back wheels. He's not going to want to let them go. This is the way it works, folks. He's wanting to keep them. As I'm struggling to turn the camera through the trees, so bear with me. We will get a good overhead view. There we go. We've got a good overhead view now. So he's going to want to close this gap up, and it looks like he's going to do so. There we go. As I speak, he closes the gap. Nice to see, Gray. Well done. Good effort. I love this kind of racing. I really do. This is why I want to be a broadcaster, because this is what gets me up. This is what excites me. And in previous episodes of the tour, we've had some great battles lower down the field. Yes, we've had fantastic action up the front with John Beams and Daniel Cadiz, and sadly Krajewski, who has now left the tour. But we've had some great battles for 1, 2, 3. But we're also seeing some great battles lower down the field as they go around this amazingly steep hairpin, 15.3%. And that for me has been the highlight of a lot of what's gone on in this tour. Not just the battle out front, which has been tremendous with John Beams and Cadiz swapping wins, but the battle lower down, or battles lower down. And we've still got it to come this evening. I mean, we've still got, John Stevens is in a solid 3rd place, but he can't afford to sort of like let up and take it easy. He's got to consolidate that. But the riders from 4th to 8th can all swap places. And that's why I think Lee's putting in a really good effort today, because he's in that top 8. And he can climb some places with a really good performance today. So we'll see what happens. Let's go back to the front. These two, they've managed to extend the gap once again to Gray. So I suspect Gray is burning matches trying to stay with them, and perhaps he should settle in and just maybe ride at his own pace and see whether that brings him back to them. Could do, or it could just be that these two are too strong for him. Only he will know that. As Hazer, look at Hazer's comment. Horrible, this is truly horrible. Well, thank Paul Nichols, mate, Cruella, because he doesn't do easy. He doesn't do easy. I mean, I have to say the courses have been superb. They've been hard, but they've been truly superb and a true test of your skills, really. Joe is saying horrendous as well. Yeah. In fact, I will just I'll just send a message, seeing as Oh yeah, some really good effort here. Lee giving us a wave, so perhaps he is listening. And I think I'm right in saying that Lee had a camera on early on in the tour as well. He was in the Zoom room, um, so we were able to see him watching him riding live. Okay, let's check further down the field as we will leave these two for the time being and come back to see what's happening with Gray a little later. I'm going to have to zoom off shortly, folks. So you've only got a few minutes of my commentary. But I wonder if I can get away with leaving the feed running for you. The only thing I don't like about that is if it times out because I'm not turning the pedals, then you're going to get the finishing screen, and that just looks a little bit unprofessional. But maybe you'd forgive me for the extra coverage that you're going to get. So let's see. I'll try and do another 4 minutes, but that's cutting it fine for me. As we see, this was the rider that was in second place, following the disqualified rider Gallagher, and I think he knows he would have been disqualified, which is why he's dropped out. We're not having riders like that in this tour. As we have a look at Taylor. High question. And don't forget, SDW are running their own races. We'll give a shout out to them in the broadcast on Saturday, but they're running their own race series as well. So show some support for them. As we watch Uru trying to close up the gap to Western, but tall ask is 60, almost 70 meters behind. So that's a big ask. Newnham has been dropped. I don't see him getting back now, so he's just going to want to try and stay ahead of the rider behind him, keep his 8th spot, and that's Clive Byam. So he's going to want to try and keep this 8th spot from Clive. Clive's going to want to try and he can see him up there ahead on the road. So Clive's going to try and claim that 8th spot if he can. But again, that's a tough ask as well. And then we have Hansen down in 10th spot. And Hansen has got to be careful that he, because Byam has already gone past him, so he's got to be careful that he keeps it going, because not far behind Hansen, you have Joe Dawes doing an exceptional ride. So can Joe climb up to a top 10 place? We'll have to wait and see. That would be a big ask. That really would be awesome. We'll see what happens. And then we got Elizabeth. She's putting in a sterling effort, 3 watt kilos, look. And then the third lady, Anne Y. Now, I think Anne's still third on GC, and this effort will do her no harm whatsoever. So it looks like Haysert has had a problem. Now, I don't know whether it's a mechanical, whether he's got cramp, or whether he's just pulled over because of the climbing. We don't know. Perhaps Haysert could message and let us know what's going on. But then in Lantern Rouge spot, you've got Guy. Now, what I'm going to do, folks, is I have to go. So I'm going to spin the pedals now, which will give you 30 minutes. So that will give you till about 20. And I may well get back from pulling my daughter. If I can stop her disrupting me, I might be able to get back to the broadcast. So let's turn the pedals. Watch my... I really do have to dash. This is putting it very fine. I have to ride at about 60 kilometers an hour. Used to get to school on time. Right, enjoy the broadcast, folks. I'm leaving you, and I'll see you soon. Okay, what's happening now then? Let's have a look. Have we finished with the tour? Yes, the tour is obviously finished. There's the so let's have a look. I'm going to close down the broadcast, folks. It looks like you were able to catch the finish, and I've been able to return with my little girl Natasha. So I'm going to end the broadcast here. Although we still have some riders to come in. I don't know where they are. Oh, there we go. So we got Taylor coming in 4th place. I have to go and pick up my second daughter. So as Natasha joins me in my pain cave and studio, as we watch Taylor coming into the finish. So I hope you managed to catch the winners. I'm going to stay with this view for you for the time being, and then I'm going to try and find out who came in 1st place. It doesn't. Sadly, it doesn't show on the graphic on screen for me at the moment, and of course, I don't know because I wasn't here in the studio. But you can see that Polak has got 400 meters to go to the finish, and once again, 10%, 12% section, 12.830. I mean, this is just cool, Mr. Nichols. 14%, what, 300 meters, 15%? Oh, that's insane. 16% within 350 meters. It's going to get even higher. Oh, that's just silly. What are you doing to these riders? 17.5%. And it's probably going to climb, yeah, as they go around this hairpin. That's my little girl you can hear. Say hello, Natasha. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
That's Natasha. She's my little helper. So this is the end of the race, Natasha. These riders have been riding now for an hour and 15 minutes. So and they've got very tired legs, and you can see them coming into the finish here. Let's see if we can find a better view. Let's see if we can actually get behind this rider and watch the rider coming into the finish. There we go. So what? He's got 150 meters to go now, and then he arrives at the finish. Look, you can see the finish banner. But we're going to have to go and pick up Charlotte shortly, so I'm going to have to leave the broadcast.
So he's just finished. He's just almost off the hard hill.
He's almost finished now. He's just coming up to the banner, so we'll zoom in on him. Look, and there you can see coming up to the banner. 25 meters to go when he passes this point here, and there's the banner. And then we'll look at the next rider coming in. Now this is a Japanese rider, Huru, and he's got 330 meters. He's on the steep section, the 17% section. It's very, very difficult at this part in the race. Oh, it's cold outside. Got a sniffling nose. Well, you go and play with the Wii now. You go and leave Daddy to finish his broadcast. You go and play with the Wii. Go back downstairs, please, and let me finish the broadcast. You've got warm hands, I know. You're always warm.
I'll give you a cuddle.
You're lovely, you. Okay. Go on then. Off you go. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. That's the fun of being a parent, folks. You get to do the broadcast and you get to interact with your children. one of the reasons why I sometimes struggle to cover all these broadcasts, because obviously I have to look after my family. Shush, Natasha. Let me finish the broadcast now. As we watch who coming over the line and who we've got following. Mike Weston from SDW. So we should be able to get the majority of the riders coming over. Sadly, I'm not going to be able to cover the last riders on the road before I have to leave. But I will try and cover as many as we can. That's Mr. Weston finishing off the ride. Here's Newnham coming under the Flamme Rouge, the 1 kilometre to go banner. And no idea what he has in store for him, 17%er. So and I still don't know who won the race. But obviously, once I can stop the broadcast, I can rewind and have a look. But unless somebody wants to put in the comments, can somebody put in the comments congratulations on the win? And whoever it was, or now as we're watching Newnham coming into the finish, what I will ask folks is we put in a lot of time and effort, we being OTR, to cover these events and put on these events, and this is the main channel for streaming. So could you please support us by giving us a like, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and help us grow the channel, because we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Oh, there we go. And I've been kicked out anyway, because it's time to go and pick up my second daughter. So what I'm going to do is just very, very quickly, let's see if we can't fire over the thanks for watching screen. Transition this over. You should get this on screen any moment. And thanks everybody for watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. I now have to dash and pick up my second daughter. So you heard from Natasha earlier. I'll see you tomorrow. Well, in fact, I'll probably try and be online a bit later on this evening to cover part of the ZMS. But I'm not commentating on that. I'll be commentating tomorrow. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you later.